begin to implement them, do they contribute to your happiness, or do they generate stress? So while you are trying to make the world into a better place, you make yourself and others unhappy in the meantime, if you're not aligned with the present moment. So it is perfectly possible and really the only sane way to live, not only to have a plan and to contribute to the world, but to realize the quality is highly important. It's not only what you do, the quality of doing, the consciousness that flows into what you do is even more important. In other words, how you do what you do is more important than what you do. You could have a store serving customers with this or that, which perhaps would not be regarded as a very important job, and yet if that is done with a quality of presence, where every customer comes into your store, you give this person, just an example, your fullest attention, you appreciate him or her as a human being, you see how you can best serve him or her in the present moment, that is quality, and then you would be improving. Everybody who comes into contact with you would somehow experience a small lifting in their being and consciousness, and so that you could create even a person with a relatively simple job could contribute in that way to creating a better world. And if you have a huge project, this is wonderful, of course, but I would suggest or recommend that you are careful that you give your fullest attention to whatever step you're taking in the present moment towards your goal, because the step is as important as the goal. In fact, the quality of the step determines the goal. So the means never justifies the ends. The means and ends go together. You cannot have bad means to achieve a good end. It may look like that, but give your fullest attention to the doing. See if you can be fully aligned with it, so that you don't generate negative energy because you want to create a better world. So that you create positive energy as you are about to create a better world. So it's a balance. Being fullest attention to the now, and yet knowing very well what it is that you want to achieve. Then also the element of creativity, you can access that much more fully when internally you open yourself to the present moment and you honor the aliveness of the present moment. You get far more insights into what you need to do, what is needed, and this may sound a little bit, I hope not too new agey, but when you are fully aligned with the present moment, you tend to, when you are this positive, you tend to attract helpful factors into your. I've experienced that many times in my life. You know where you want to go, you make your commitments, you begin to take action, joyful action, alive, intense energy may arise, but not stress, joyful action, and then helpful factors are much more likely to come in than somebody who may have good intentions, but there's full stress about them. So I can shout at people around me because I don't agree with the way they do things, but we're trying to create a compassionate society. Why aren't you should be doing that? You know our goal is important. We're creating a compassionate society here. Okay, so it's a balance, and it's a practice also. I wish you well in your endeavor, and may your life be fruitful, and may your present moment be joyful. It is. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom with us. I guess that my question for you is, how do you decipher what thoughts make sense to follow, the thoughts that are from clarity and beingness, and how do you choose when to think and when not to follow the mind?
Yes, thanks. For certain things, of course, thoughts are needed to deal with certain practical matters. So there's no problem there. What you apply your thoughts, what you need here. Then there are thoughts that arise in daily life. They just come into your head, and you can notice how this particular thought makes you feel. So you can detect the feeling quality behind the thought. And if the feeling quality is not good, it's a bit like eating something that doesn't make you feel good once it reaches the stomach. It feels, so there are many thoughts of that kind that give you that feeling that is not pleasant. For example, thoughts that generate anxiety, thoughts about what's going to happen, or imagining problems that might arise tomorrow, and believing firstly that this is a reality already. And this is called worry, is a particular mind pattern that many people are familiar with. Worry means to think things that could go wrong and how they could go wrong and how they probably will go wrong because they always go wrong. So that's a very familiar thing. And then you detect how does it make you feel. Worry doesn't feel good. You can feel in the body, there's fear associated with worry. So there's anxiety that arises, you feel a contraction in the body. So the feeling will often tell you what kind of thought it is, whether it's true or not. And then you can recognize certain thoughts as not productive and as thoughts that you would choose not to have if you had a choice. But the wonderful thing is that you do have a choice. And it is actually possible to drop certain thoughts when you recognize them as having no function whatsoever except to make you unhappy. And there's a wide range of thoughts that has no function whatsoever except to make you unhappy. Then sometimes the ego itself actually would even love this unhappiness because it's so familiar. So every therapist is familiar with clients who do not want to let go of their neurosis because they feel at home with it. So, but if you recognize these thoughts as not helpful, then it's easier to, don't follow them where they want to take you. And by choice, you remember what we said about attention, you actually realize you can choose where you want your attention to go. The thoughts pretend to be all-powerful and try to get all your attention in. No. My choice is not to continue this train of thought, but to take my attention into my breathing. Oh, much nicer. A minute ago I was terribly worried, and now I actually feel alive. And it's quite pleasant to be here in this moment. It's not a hell, I was in hell. And I was only in bed.
Good evening, and thank you for tonight. One of my favorite jokes was that parents give advice to their children because they cannot be an example. So how do we help our children be present and separate themselves from the thoughts that we are teaching them to think?
Yes.
And so on.
You've already answered your question because predominantly it's not by telling them, but by living it yourself, because that transmits itself out. The way in which their parents live is the greatest teaching for the children, as you rightly said. What they tell them is very much secondary, and sometimes it contradicts the way they live. The parents tell the child, don't swear like that, and the child says, but you do it all the time. So if the parents live consciously and bring more presence into life, that is the teaching. Occasionally they may say a word or two to point in that direction, but basically the answer is you've already given the answer. Yeah.
Thank you for being here. So also when he talks about how he reached enlightenment, talks about the fact that effort was necessary but not sufficient. At some point it was an obstacle.
Yeah.
So once you dropped the effort, it happens.
Yeah.
So what triggered your awareness of Agent 39, apart from unhappiness? In terms of the books you read, how would your day look like?
No, it was purely triggered by suffering. So I didn't make a spiritual effort to reach any kind of state. It was purely what also said, of course, in some cases it also applies. People who have a spiritual practice and put a lot of effort into their spiritual practice, while they put the effort into the spiritual practice, and this is very much exemplified in the life of the Buddha, who had a spiritual practice for quite a number of years, and he had several teachers. He became extremely good at every spiritual practice, and he became an ascetic monk, and he only ate and drank an absolute minimum. He almost starved himself to death, and so he had a very strenuous spiritual practice, and suddenly he saw this Septimus lead to awakening, and then he dropped, as you said, he dropped all effort, and at that point the story goes that many of all his disciples left him because he has abandoned the true path. Of course, he dropped all effort, and then was able to simply enter the present moment fully. Now, the question was arise, couldn't he have done that without the effort and just go into the present moment directly? I don't know. In his case, he needed the effort, and in my case, I needed the suffering. So what was in his case the effort, in my case was the suffering, which is also an effort. To make yourself suffer is a great effort.
Yes, sir. Thank you for being here. So I really enjoyed today. I feel like you talked about sort of a pragmatic wearing of this school of thought philosophy, which really resonates with me, and I'm sure a lot of folks in here. Sometimes where I struggle is when I take it to, I hypothetically put myself in the extremes of the situation, that is the complete dissociation from my ego or from the collective ego. This arises in some of the work I do with clients I work with too, where you are not your thoughts. And that it seems to make a lot of clear sense to me on the negative side of the spectrum. I feel like 90% of today has been about the way we sabotage and destroy ourselves. But on the positive side of the spectrum as well, it's a little more ambiguous for me. I think more ambiguous in terms of what I desire. My girlfriend's in the room, and she can probably attest that I've become not the world's best gift receiver, because I feel a sense of sort of neutrality, like a calm joy, but I'm not ecstatic. Or I have a thought like, this is awesome, being exuberant. Instead I'm like, I'm not my thoughts. Like, this is, and in the present moment, this is nice. I think she should get a new boyfriend. Yeah. Maybe that's the answer. But anyways, on the positive side of things, I sometimes wonder, do I really want to dissociate myself from the volatility of happiness and actual?
Okay, well, there's on the one hand you have the kind of what is conventionally called happiness is when something that is considered great happens and you go, wow, yeah, wow. Or sometimes even as the slightest thing, people are given some object and they go, wow, and they really feel ecstatically. This is the happiness that is connected with something so-called good happening, surrounding something given to you, or you attain something. And then there is something deeper that is the sense of, I wouldn't call that happiness, although in some spiritual traditions it is called happiness. There's something that's actually deeper than happiness. There's a peaceful sense of alive, sense of joy in the background of your being. And when this, I'm a bit like you too, by the way. But I don't know if that is in the background of your being. But I don't go, wow, when things happen or I attain something or something is given. I agree, it's nice, but if it disappears the next moment, it would be okay too. So there isn't something deeper that is what we call happiness, because if you're happy one day, maybe unhappy the next, happy, unhappy, happy, unhappy. Something bad happens, I'm unhappy, completely unhappy. Something good happens, I'm absurdly happy, unrealistically happy, because it's not going to last. So there is a deeper sense of joyful beingness, peaceful aliveness. Is that in the background, and therefore you're no longer ecstatic when something so-called good happens, and perhaps no longer that despondent when something so-called negative. Is that also the case? When something is taken away from you, or something so-called bad happens, are you also not as despondent as you might have been in the past?
Yeah, I think so. I feel even healed.
Yes. Now that's good. Let's not confuse that so, because some people confuse that with a sense of being like kind of having deadened yourself to the highs and lows. This is not what we're talking about. And I have met people who have done that, and they don't feel more alive, they feel less alive. And they feel less alive, but they think when something good or bad happens, they think, oh, well, they kind of deaden themselves to the, or repressing your emotions could be part of that. Eventually you transcend the emotional highs and lows because there's a deeper level in you where the highs and lows are not that important anymore. You still experience them to some extent, but they don't pull you down completely, and they don't pull you out of yourself completely. So I don't believe you have deadened yourself. You seem quite alive, so
the girlfriend should stick with them. I think that we use the term equanimity, right? Where you don't get lost and try to hold on to the highs because they're always transient, and you don't get lost and get attached to the lows.
I think that's going out the door right now.
She still loves you. She still loves you. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to say we are out of time. I thank all of you so much for being here. Eckhart, thank you so much.